Versatile Mage. Chapter 654. Space Compass, Axis of Death. "Stop it," yelled Han Ji. If the mountain zombie caught up to the magicians, the consequences would be unbearable. Han Ji was mainly responsible for the safety of Mo Fan and his crew. He would not allow the Black Vatican to do any harm to them in the midst of chaos. He believed that the Black Vatican would risk their lives to kill the people able to enter the Dark Abyss after learning their plan. Han Ji was unable to lend a hand. He had to protect the 4 descendants of the ancient king. It would be the end if they died. Luckily, they had quite a few super magicians in the ancient capital. The number of advanced magicians was also enough to form a large squadron. They had brought more than half of the magicians in the upper class with them. Otherwise, it would be impossible to clear a path through the army of undead. Zhu Meng, Ling Shi, Shi Zheng, Yao Ting, Lu Zhu, Li Jia, Li Yujian. Take 2 squads of Imperial magicians and 1 squad of Hunter Masters with you and stop the mountain zombie at all costs. We can't let it reach the path we're heading to. Fight it to death. As the highest commander, Han Ji immediately made a decision. He had decided to send out 7 super magicians, 2 squads of Imperial magicians and a squad of Hunter Masters, each consisting of around 30 people, and 20 other advanced magicians. It was basically a troop of over 100 magicians. A troop of over 100 magicians who were all advanced level or above. It was definitely a strong force in any battle, yet it was formed just to stop a single creature. Soon, many of the figures on the ground and in the sky split from the formation and headed for the mountain zombie. The colors of elemental magic were the most common among the magicians. Every advanced magician had 3 elements, thus it went without saying that multiple magicians would possess the same elements. However, different magicians had different levels of control over the elements. Even the most common element, fire, was represented in different colors, let alone the damage output of their spells. The Sky Flame Funeral was the most splendid among the spells. The rain of fire falling from the sky would instantly set a large number of zombies aflame, clearing the obstacles around the mountain zombie. Even though the troop was mainly made up of advanced magicians, it did not mean they would only cast advanced spells. The process of constructing star constellations was fairly complicated. Intermediate spells were still commonly used by the magicians. The sky was full of bursts of flames flying across like meteorites. Meanwhile, one fiery fist after another exploded on the ground, clearing the darkness and blasting the limbs and bodies of the undead away. The mountain zombie was domineering, too. It did not bring a single corpse official along with it, even though all the corpse officials were under its command. It had come alone, not paying any attention to the destructive advanced spells that were randomly blasting its mountain-sized body. The spells looked like tiny fireworks trying to scratch it, providing it some relief from an itch it had. The advanced spells were already quite powerful, but the mountain zombie's body was too sturdy. The scratches and marks left on its body were no more than nail scratches. Icebound Coffin. As some advanced magician finished channeling the spell, an ice coffin slowly descended from the sky, with frost and ice crystals dancing in the surroundings. The combination of the powerful ice spell and a soul-grade ice seed could easily freeze a commander-level creature inside the coffin. However, the mountain zombie glanced at the spell coldly and raised its hand all of a sudden. It simply grabbed the enormous icebound coffin and crushed it to pieces. The enormous icebound coffin was nothing but a little ice cone in its eyes. It completely broke into pieces and fell away between the gaps of the mountain zombie's fingers. After letting the magicians attack it at will, the mountain zombie suddenly held its arms together and waved them at the space ahead. The space began to crack like a spider web before breaking into pieces. A black gap spread rapidly. The ice magician with the soul-grade ice seed had obviously become the mountain zombie's main target. As the cracks spread across his figure, the talented ice magician was immediately shattered into pieces. The cracks spread further away. The wind magicians in the air immediately fled for their lives. They had no idea how to resist the space cracks. They would simply be torn apart once they were caught in them. The mountain zombie had stunned the magicians with a single attack, killing and tearing apart the elites among them with ease. Don't panic, the space will produce ripples before the cracks appear. Use the ripples to dodge the cracks. Don't lose your ground, yelled Commander Yao Ting. As a super magician with the space element, his understanding of the principles related to the space element was better than most people's. The people who were appointed to deal with the mountain zombie were knowledgeable elites, too. They immediately calmed down and watched for the ripples when they heard Yao Ting's reminder. As Yao Ting mentioned, the unpredictable space cracks did produce ripples before they appeared. It was difficult to resist them with defensive spells, but as long as they were able to tell where the cracks would appear, they could still dodge the attack with movement spells, preventing themselves from being torn into pieces. "Hey you have lived long enough," shouted Commander Yao Ting coldly. The brilliance of his stars immediately appeared, surrounding him as the star patterns were joined together. The star constellations were constructed in just a few thoughts. A moment later, a star palace with mysterious energy was built. Its brilliance was quite different. It was a dark silver, with a vague, uncatchable light of the sky, gorgeous like a galaxy. The star palace only appeared for a brief moment. Suddenly, Commander Yao Ting's figure began to twist, and he disappeared in the following second. A man in a blue coat appeared without a sign between the eyes of the mountain zombie. The man flung his coat open and stared into the mountain zombie's eyes. The mountain zombie did not understand why the human dared to appear right before it. Its terrifying eyes suddenly emitted a black glitter, before they fired 2 rays of light at the man in the blue coat. The man's figure twisted again. He instantly vanished into thin air before the rays of light could reach him. He was so quick that his afterimage was left behind like a ghost. The mountain zombie was enraged. Its senses were utterly terrifying, too. It immediately raised its palm and swung it toward its shoulder. The man in the blue coat was already floating behind the creature. It all happened within an instant. He was so quick that there were now 2 Commander Yao Tings. Commander Yao Ting was as impressive as the mountain zombie. He did not stay more than a second behind the creature. His figure turned illusionary once again. The mountain zombie's swipe split the clouds in half, yet it did not even touch Yao Ting's clothes. He appeared once again. Yao Ting continued to appear and disappear in different locations by either floating, appearing in a flicker, or showing up in a vague form. However, it all occurred within a few seconds. Finally, Yao Ting appeared in the air right in front of the mountain zombie. He spread his arms, his pupils reflecting the dull sky as his hands were lifting some invisible force into the sky. Space Compass, Axis of Death. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.